The 1995 Japanese Grand Prix, formerly the 21st Fuji Television Japanese Grand Prix, was a Formula One motor race held on the 29th of October 1995 at the Suzuka Circuit, Suzuka. It was the 16th and penultimate race of the 1995 Formula One season. The race, contested over 53 laps, was won by Michael Schumacher for the Benetton team after starting from pole position. Mika Häkkinen finished second in a McLaren, and Johnny Herbert third in a Benetton. Jean Alesi, driving for Ferrari, started second alongside Schumacher. However, Alesi was forced to serve a 10-second stop-and-go penalty because his car moved forward before the start. Alesi climbed up to second before retiring on lap 25. Schumacher's rival in the Drivers' Championship, Damon Hill, started fourth amidst pressure from the British media after poor performances at previous races. Hill moved up to second because of Alesi's retirement, but spun off the circuit on lap 40. Schumacher's win was his 9th of the season, matching Nigel Mansell's record for victories in a season that was set in 1992. Benetton were confirmed Constructors Champions, as Williams could not pass Benetton's points total with only one race remaining. Section 1. Report. Background. Heading into the penultimate race of the season, Benetton driver Michael Schumacher had already won the season's Drivers' Championship, having clinched the title at the previous race, the Pacific Grand Prix. Schumacher led the championship with 92 points. Damon Hill was second with 59 points. A maximum of 20 points were available for the remaining two races, which meant that Hill could not catch Schumacher. Although the Drivers' Championship was decided, the Constructors' Championship was not. Benetton were leading on 123 points, and Williams was second with 102 points heading into the 16th race, with a maximum of 32 points available. In the week leading up to the race, Hill was criticised by the British media after poor performances in previous races. There was continued speculation that Williams were going to replace him with Heinz-Harald Frentzen for the 1996 season. Despite the rumours, Williams team boss Frank Williams gave Hill an unequivocal vote of confidence heading into the race. There were two driver changes heading into the race. Having been in one of the two Sauber cars since the fifth race of the season at Monaco, Jean-Christophe Bouillon was released from the team and replaced by Karl Wendlinger. The Austrian was given another chance to prove himself after suffering an accident at the 1994 Monaco Grand Prix, which left him in a coma for weeks. The second driver change was Mika Häkkinen's return to McLaren after missing the Pacific Grand Prix because of an operation for appendicitis. Practice and qualifying. Two practice sessions were held before the race. The first was held on Friday morning, and the second on Saturday morning. Both sessions lasted 1 hour and 45 minutes, with weather conditions dry throughout. Schumacher was fastest in the first session, posting a time of 1 minute 40.410 seconds, 0.2 of a second quicker than Häkkinen. The Williams and Ferrari cars occupied the remaining top six positions, Williams drivers Hill and David Coulthard third and fifth respectively. The Ferraris were fourth and sixth fastest, Jean Alesi ahead of Berger. Häkkinen lapped faster than Schumacher in the second practice session with a time of 1 minute 40.389 seconds. Eddie Irvine took second place in the Jordan car, 0.3 of a second behind Häkkinen. Hill was third in the Williams, 0.2 behind Häkkinen, with Schumacher fourth behind Hill. The Ferraris were fifth and eighth, Alesi in front of Berger. Frentzen's Sauber and Coulthard's Williams split the Ferraris. Despite both Williams cars going off into the gravel, Hill and Coulthard made the top 10. Schumacher clinched his 10th career pole position in his Benetton B195 with a time of 1 minute 38.023 seconds. He was joined on the front row by Alesi, who was 0.8 of a second behind. Häkkinen was third in the McLaren, with Hill fourth, a second slower than Schumacher. Despite Häkkinen's best qualifying effort of the season, alongside his Belgium third place, his teammate, Marc Blundell, had a disappointing qualifying session. In the first part of qualifying, held on Friday afternoon, Blundell crashed into the wall, meaning he could not set a time as his car was too badly damaged. Blundell had his second crash of the weekend at the 130R corner in Saturday practice, which was more serious than the first. Following medical advice, Blundell did not participate in the second qualifying session on Saturday afternoon. He was unable to set a time, leaving him at the back of the grid. Aguri Suzuki crashed his Ligier during Saturday qualifying. He was unable to start the race since he was in a hospital with a broken rib. Quote, Damon Hill, commenting on his and Williams' qualifying performance, said, "Nobody is more disappointed than myself and the team. We have to investigate why we were not competitive. I was surprised by the performance of the McLaren and even more impressed by Michael Schumacher's performance at the end of the session." Race. The track surface was damp for most of the race, which meant that lap times were slower than the previous day's qualifying sessions. The drivers took to the track at 9:30 Japanese Standard Time, Greenwich Mean Time plus 10, for a 30-minute warm-up session. Despite underperforming in qualifying, both Williams cars performed better in the wet weather warm-up session. Hill was fastest on a time of 2 minutes 0.025 seconds. Coulthard was third in the other Williams car. Schumacher split them in second position. Alesi completed the top four, 0.8 of a second behind Hill. Though 24 cars qualified for the race, only 22 took the start. Suzuki was unable to start because of his crash in qualifying, and Roberto Moreno's 40 car suffered a gearbox problem. The race started at 1400 hours Japanese Standard Time. All of the drivers opted to start on wet weather tyres, as the track was damp from the morning rain. Schumacher, from pole position on the grid, held on to the lead into the first corner. Alesi, who started alongside Schumacher, was judged to have jumped the start and served a 10-second stop-and-go penalty on lap 3, from which he returned to the race in 10th place. Alesi's teammate Berger also jumped the start and received the same penalty. Gianni Morbidelli, near the back of the field in one of the footwork cars, spun at the first corner on lap 1 after being hit from behind by Wendlinger's Sauber. Morbidelli stalled his car in the process, forcing him to retire from the race. On lap 7, Alesi stopped at the pits to change to dry weather slick tyres as the track was beginning to dry. On returning to the race, he began to make his way through the field, constantly recording fastest laps, the first of which was 1 minute 54.416 seconds, 5 seconds faster than the previous fastest lap set by Schumacher. Schumacher made a pit stop on lap 10 for slicks, handing the lead to Häkkinen for a lap before he too pitted. Alesi's progress was interrupted when he spun attempting to pass Pedro Lami's Minardi for 15th place, but he made his way up to second by lap 10, overtaking Hill around the outside of the final chicane to take the place. Alerted by Alesi's pace on the slick tyres, the other drivers came into the pits to change to slick tyres. The two Jordan cars collided on lap 15. Rubens Barrichello spun in the final chicane when he attempted to brake later than his teammate Irvine. Barrichello hit a wall, which damaged his car's rear wing and caused him to retire from the race. Irvine was involved in another collision at the chicane on lap 20 when Frentzen hit him from behind. Irvine continued without damage, but Frentzen had to pit for a new front wing. At the front, Alesi was lapping faster than Schumacher, even though Schumacher was on dry tyres. Alesi was only 6 seconds behind Schumacher when his Ferrari 412 T1 suffered an apparent differential failure on lap 25. It was later discovered that the problem was a driveshaft failure, possibly as a result of his earlier spin. Schumacher pitted for a second time on lap 31, returning to the race in second place behind Hill. Schumacher set the fastest lap of the race on lap 33 and regained his lead on the next lap when Hill made his pit stop. Behind them, Häkkinen and Coulthard were third and fourth respectively before their pit stops, but Coulthard pitted 6 laps later than Häkkinen and returned to the track in third place, 1 place ahead of the Finn. Johnny Herbert was fifth in the second Benetton car after the second round of pit stops, with Irvine rounding out the point-scoring places in 6th. At this stage, the rain began to fall again, but only at the spoon curve end of the track. The Williams drivers were second and third until Hill ran off the track at spoon curve 2 laps after his pit stop. He damaged his front wing in the process and returned to the track in 4th. Hill returned to the pits to let his pit crew replace the damaged wing. He rejoined 5th, but was then given a 10-second stop-and-go penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Coulthard made the same mistake as his teammate by running through the gravel trap at the spoon curve, but looked like he was going to escape with only minor damage. However, as he braked for 130R, the next corner, the gravel which had entered his side pods flew out, causing him to lose control and get his car stuck in the gravel trap. Hill was told by his team on the radio to speed up, as he had not yet taken his stop-and-go penalty, but later that lap he spun off at Spoon Curve and retired from the race without having taken the penalty. Blundell, Irvine and Frentzen also left the track at Spoon Curve, but all finished the race. With his closest challenger out, Schumacher won the race after 53 laps to secure his 9th victory of the season in a time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, 52.930 seconds. The win, along with Herbert's 3rd place and the retirements of Hill and Coulthard, gave Benetton the 1995 Constructors Championship. Häkkinen finished 2nd in his McLaren, 20 seconds behind Schumacher. Irvine was 4th in his Jordan, with Olivier Panis 5th in his Ligier. Mika Häkkinen took 6th place and the final point in his Tyrrell. Despite starting last, Blundell finished in 7th, just 1.6 seconds behind Häkkinen. Post-race. This was Schumacher's last win for Benetton, as he moved to the Ferrari team for the 1996 season. Herbert reiterated Schumacher's opinion by stating that Benetton did a fantastic job. Hill was disappointed about the race and the season as a whole. He said afterwards, "Just when you think that it couldn't get any worse, it does. There is no easy way out of this, you just have to keep pressing on. The easiest thing to do is to give up, and it would probably be less painful that way, but that is not an option. While we were in the race, we were competitive, and I was in with a shout, I suppose, all the time I was on the track. But things took a massive turn for the worse, I'm afraid. I drove through the rain, and the second time I spun off, I think it was oil rather than rain. It is not a glorious end to the season, but the ingredients are all there, and there is no reason why we should not get into the winning habit again." As a result of Hill not taking his 10-second stop-and-go penalty because of his retirement, Williams were fined $10,000 by Formula One's governing body, the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, FIA. In an interview with Motorsport magazine in 2008, Hill said that the 1995 season as a whole went down mentally and it all just got to me. He also said he believed that it was in 1995 that Frank Williams and Patrick Head decided to replace him for the 1997 season. 1980 Formula One world champion Alan Jones praised Alesi's performance, saying that it will go down as one of the great drives in Grand Prix racing. Alesi stated that if his driveshaft had not failed, he would have fought for it all the way to the end. Alesi added that he believed he did not jump the start, but admitted that the car crept forwards by a few centimetres because of the downhill slope of the grid. Quote, Michael Schumacher, commenting on Benetton's 1995 season, said, "It's a really great feeling now because I fulfilled the promises that I made to the team at the beginning of the season to get both titles, drivers and constructors." Section 2. Classification. Qualifying. Position. First. Car number 1. Driver. Michael Schumacher, Germany. Constructor. Benetton-Renault. Time. 1 minute 38.023 seconds. Second. Car number 27. Jean Alesi, France. Ferrari. 1 minute 38.888 seconds. Gap. 0.865 seconds. Third. Car number 8. Mika Häkkinen, Finland. McLaren Mercedes. 1 minute 38.954 seconds. Gap 0.931 seconds. Fourth. Car number 5. Damon Hill, United Kingdom. Williams Renault. 1 minute 39.032 seconds. Gap 1.009 seconds. Fifth. Car number 28. Gerhard Berger, Austria. Ferrari. 1 minute 39.040 seconds. Gap 1.017 seconds. 6th, car number 6, David Coulthard, United Kingdom, Williams-Renault. 1 minute 39.155 seconds. Gap 1.132 seconds. 7th, car number 15, Eddie Irvine, United Kingdom, Jordan Peugeot. 1 minute 39.621 seconds. Gap 1.598 seconds. 8th, car number 30, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, Germany, Sauber Ford. 1 minute 40.010 seconds. Gap 1.987 seconds. 9th, car number 2, Johnny Herbert, United Kingdom, Benetton-Renault. 1 minute 40.349 seconds. Gap 2.326 seconds. 10th, car number 14, Rubens Barrichello, Brazil, Jordan Peugeot. 1 minute 40.381 seconds. Gap 2.358 seconds. 11th, car number 26, Olivier Panis, France, Ligier Mugen Honda. 1 minute 40.838 seconds. Gap 2.815 seconds. 12th, car number 4, Mika Häkkinen, Finland, Tyrrell Yamaha. 1 minute 41.355 seconds. Gap 3.332 seconds. 13th, car number 25, Aguri Suzuki, Japan, Ligier Mugen Honda. 1 minute 41.592 seconds. Gap 3.569 seconds. 14th, car number 3, Ukyo Katayama, Japan, Tyrrell Yamaha. 1 minute 41.977 seconds. Gap 3.954 seconds. 15th, car number 9, Gianni Morbidelli, Italy, Footwork Hart. 1 minute 42.059 seconds. Gap 4.036 seconds. 16th, car number 29, Karl Wendlinger, Austria, Sauber Ford. 1 minute 42.912 seconds. Gap 4.889 seconds. 17th, car number 23, Pedro Lamy, Portugal, Minardi Ford. 1 minute 43.102 seconds. Gap 5.079 seconds. 18th, car number 24, Luca Badoa, Italy, Minardi Ford. 1 minute 43.542 seconds. Gap 5.519 seconds. 19th, car number 10, Taki Inui, Japan, Footwork Hart. 1 minute 44.074 seconds. Gap 6.051 seconds. 20th, car number 17, Andrea Montemini, Italy, Pacific Ford. 1 minute 46.097 seconds. Gap 8.074 seconds. 21st, car number 21, Pedro Diniz, Brazil, 40 Ford. 1 minute 46.654 seconds. Gap 8.631 seconds. 22nd, car number 22, Roberto Moreno, Brazil, 40 Ford. 1 minute 48.267 seconds. Gap 10.244 seconds. 23rd, car number 16, Bertrand Gachot, Belgium, Pacific Ford. 1 minute 48.289 seconds. Gap 10.266 seconds. 24th, car number 7, Mark Blundell, United Kingdom, McLaren Mercedes. 16 minutes 42.640 seconds. Gap 15 minutes 4.617 seconds. Race. Position: First, car number 1. Driver, Michael Schumacher, Germany. Constructor, Benetton-Renault. Laps completed, 53. Time, 1 hour, 36 minutes, 52.930 seconds. Grid position, first. Points, 10. Second, car number 8. Mika Häkkinen, Finland, McLaren Mercedes. 53 laps completed. Gap, 19.337 seconds. Grid position, third. Points, 6. Third, car number 2. Johnny Herbert, United Kingdom, Benetton-Renault. 53 laps completed. Gap, 1 minute 23.804 seconds. Grid position, 9th. Points, 4. Fourth, car number 15. Eddie Irvine, United Kingdom, Jordan Peugeot. 53 laps completed. Gap, 1 minute 42.136 seconds. Grid position, 7th. Points, 3. Fifth, car number 26. Olivier Panis, France, Ligier Mugen Honda. 52 laps completed. Gap, 1 lap. Grid position, 11th. Points, 2. Sixth, car number 4. Mika Häkkinen, Finland, Tyrrell Yamaha. 52 laps completed. Gap, 1 lap. Grid position, 12th. Points, 1. Seventh, car number 7. Mark Blundell, United Kingdom, McLaren Mercedes. 52 laps completed. Gap, 1 lap. Grid position, 23rd. Eighth, car number 30. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, Germany, Sauber Ford. 52 laps completed. Gap, 1 lap. Grid position, 8th. Ninth, car number 24. Luca Badoa, Italy, Minardi Ford. 51 laps completed. Gap, 2 laps. Grid position, 17th. 10th, car number 29. Karl Wendlinger, Austria, Sauber Ford. 51 laps completed. Gap, 2 laps. Grid position, 15th. 11th, car number 23. Pedro Lamy, Portugal, Minardi Ford. 51 laps completed. Gap, 2 laps. Grid position, 16th. 12th, car number 10. Taki Inui, Japan, Footwork Hart. 51 laps completed. Gap, 2 laps. Grid position, 18th. Retired, car number 5. Damon Hill, United Kingdom, Williams-Renault. Laps completed, 40. Retirement reason, spun off. Grid position, 4th. Retired, car number 6. David Coulthard, United Kingdom, Williams-Renault. Laps completed, 39. Retirement reason, spun off. Grid position, 6th. Retired, car number 21. Pedro Diniz, Brazil, 40 Ford. Laps completed, 32. Retirement reason, spun off. Grid position, 20th. Retired, car number 27. Jean Alesi, France, Ferrari. Laps completed, 24. Retirement reason, engine. Grid position, 2nd. Retired, car number 17. Andrea Montanini, Italy, Pacific Ford. Laps completed, 23. Retirement reason, spun off. Grid position, 19th. Retired, car number 28. Gerhard Berger, Austria, Ferrari. Laps completed, 16. Retirement reason, electrical. Grid position, 5th. Retired, car number 14. Rubens Barrichello, Brazil, Jordan Peugeot. Laps completed, 15. Retirement reason, spun off. Grid position, 10th. Retired. Car number 3. Ukyo Katayama, Japan. Tyrrell Yamaha. Laps completed, 12. Retirement reason, spun off. Grid position, 13th. Retired. Car number 16. Bertrand Gachot, Belgium. Pacific Ford. Laps completed, 6. Retirement reason, half shaft. Grid position, 22nd. Retired. Car number 22. Roberto Moreno, Brazil. 40 Ford. Laps completed, 1. Retirement reason, gearbox. Grid position, 21st. Retired. Car number 9. Gianni Morbidelli, Italy. Footwork Heart. Laps completed, 0. Retirement reason, spun off. Grid position, 14th. Did not start. Car number 25. Aguri Suzuki, Japan. Ligier Mugen Honda. Laps completed, 0. Reason for not starting, accident. Section 3. Standings after the race. Only the top 5 positions are included for both sets of standings. Drivers' Championship standings. Position, 1st. Driver, Michael Schumacher, Germany, 102 points. 2nd, Damon Hill, United Kingdom, 59 points. 3rd, David Coulthard, United Kingdom, 49 points. 4th, Johnny Herbert, United Kingdom, 45 points. 5th, Jean Alesi, France, 42 points. Constructors' Championship standings. Position, 1st. Constructor, Benetton-Renault, United Kingdom, 137 points. 2nd, Williams-Renault, United Kingdom, 102 points. 3rd, Ferrari, Italy, 73 points. 4th, McLaren-Mercedes, United Kingdom, 27 points. 5th, Jordan Peugeot, Republic of Ireland, 21 points.